Man, let's talk about it, man. Errol Spence Jr. Man, we just witnessed what happened on the 29th of July, 2023. Historical event. You know, a lot of people are saying a lot of things about Errol right now. Hats off to him, first of all. Let's start that out. What he did, stepping out into that ring, was just that, man. Stepping out into that ring. They warriors. He stepped out there being the warrior that he is. But he stepped out there in a fight that most people, let me back that up. Some folks are saying, I've heard, and it's crazy. It's not a lot of people I've spoken to, but I've heard just slightly, lightly, in the background. Because like I said, there's been a couple people who said it, not many. And even people have said they think Errol was running from the fight momentarily because he thought he couldn't beat him. One thing Errol said was this.
He's talented. You know, he got God-gifted abilities. People, we talk about what my coach teach. He teach fundamentals. He teach sound basics. And that's what he's going to find out that I do have.
With him saying that makes me question, did he think he could beat him? Honestly, was this, you know, and I heard Terence say, you know, you always think about you losing. And, you know, it's always a thing that you could, you know, it could happen, but that's not what you're going in to do. You're going in there to win. You're going in there to beat this guy. So you know anything can happen. You put your best foot forward, you work this, that, and other. But when you got Errol saying what he said about him being a talent and his fundamentals, then you say to yourself again, like, did these guys believe wholeheartedly in their heart to the core? You know, it's like somebody telling you your mom not your mom. My mom. You can't. What are you talking? No, it's no way. I'm totally, certainly, absolutely sure that this is that and that is this. But when you get those two guys in the ring and to see the level that Terence was fighting at and the level that Errol was performing at, because no one was saying Errol was the better talent. No one said that. Not even Errol himself. Not even Derrick James. No one said, no one. I heard no one say that Errol Spence Jr. was the better talent. They was calling him the body snatcher. He gonna go to the body. They was saying he was gonna break him. He was the bone crusher. They was saying he was the bigger guy. They was saying the pressure. But the overshadowing, even myself, and people wanted Errol to win because they was like, you know, he had all the straps, like he had one more to get. It's almost like, you know, I come with 3, you got 1, and then you leave with all. It's like, no, I'm supposed to leave with that 1 belt versus you leaving with the 3, then gaining another one. You know what I'm saying? Where did anybody think or had the idea Errol was a better talent? When you got Terence over here and you're claiming him to be the better talent, what's hanging, the black cloud that's hanging over the whole situation is that Terence is the better fighter. Everybody said it. Terence the better fighter. Terence the better fighter. Was the better fighter. Terence the better fighter. Crawford's the better fighter. He's the more talent. He's the complete fighter. He's the all around. Everybody who went with him said that same thing. He was the better fighter. They clearly thought he was the better fighter. The people who went with Errol Spence thought Terence was the better fighter. How is the question that I ask? If we all feel that one side is the better side, possess more talent and skill, how do we ever claim it to be a 50-50 fight? Shucks, I gotta ask myself that. Even I said, man, this is gonna be a good one. Because, you know, they say styles makes fight, but I'm like, it's going to be a good one because we're going to see how Errol match up against the talent. And that was the whole fight. The whole fight was how would Errol match up against the talent. It wasn't the two talents matching going against each other who was going to outwit one another. Who was going to get the science the sweetest that night. It wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was like, was Goliath going to be able to weave them stones coming out that pinpoint accurate slingshot that David was laying on in every angle that David was on that night, which is the era, Mr. E-R-A. He landed pinpoint accuracy.
I think that Crawford can maybe dissect him slowly but surely because Crawford's arsenal is much more extensive. You know, he's got more versatile. He's got great footwork. He's got the punches and bunches. He throws combinations, so maybe I might be wrong, but that might be a little too much for Spence. You know, his one-dimensional style.
I mean, if you didn't know those two were fighting and they went in the room, they fought, and it was like, let's say you didn't know what was going on. You didn't know it was a boxing match that night. If the world wasn't notified about this event, and all of them walked in a room together. You seen all of them walk in there. You're like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, Terence Crawford and Errol Spence about to fight tonight. And you didn't know who neither one of these boxers was. And all of them guys came out, and you got to see everybody's face going in, and you got to see everybody's face coming out. You wouldn't have known who Errol had fought. You wouldn't have known who he had fought. You were like, who beat this dude up? Who was he fighting? Because no one who coming out of here looked like they've been in a fight. Errol Spence is the only person who was in a fight that night. I mean, who could have, you can't, you know how they say you can't make this stuff up. I mean, masterclass, beautiful. They're going to study this fight. The sad part is they said this was Terence's best performance, which is he's going to outdo this. They're going to study this fight because it was everything Terence said it was going to be.
They're going to say Bud Crawford is special. He is great. That's what they're going to walk away saying. This boy is great. I can assure you that. He'll give me my respect after the fight.
And more. Everybody got their money's worth. Everybody got what they were paid, what they paid for. Everybody didn't get the results that they wanted, but everybody got their money's worth. He definitely delivered. He delivered for the Terence Bud Crawford fans, the Mr. ERA, the Era fans. He delivered for them, and he delivered for the truth. Man down, the big fish. It was a fish fry, like he said. One of the best fish fries I've been invited to. Listen, man, they're asking questions like, is Errol deserving of a rematch? Man, y'all people must have lost y'all mind. Of course he's deserving of a rematch. He should get that rematch. One of the people who we need to highlight in this whole deal right now is Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter said, and quote me if I'm wrong, I know he said he deserves the rematch clause, and he was saying something about the 4th or 5th round, because if somebody loses in the 5th round, you know, they was going to learn from that mistake. The teams was going to go back and just overcome that, and the rematch, they should be better with that, making the adjustments. You know, some adjustments you can't make in the ring, on the spot, on the fly. But you can go back, you know, to the drawing board and make that adjustments and prepare for it.
Yes, he's going to go home. He's going to talk to the team. They're going to really analyze this and figure it out.
I do think that Errol has the ability to do more. I think this is the fight that proved to him that he has to be able to do more in order to beat this guy. I think that he's going to want to get better. So I'm an advocate for the rematch. Not saying that I think he's going to win it. I just think that it's going to look different.
I heard, I can't remember the boxer that was talking about Terence Crawford when he got him to spar with him. Everything he threw at him, he made the adjustments on the fly, and he was like, "God, you're gonna be great." Like he knew Terence's greatness right there. Like, this guy is great. He's phenomenal. Like, everything I was putting on him, he worked me. You know, in essence, Terence beat him in the sparring. He was making the adjustments. Terence was making adjustments. And he was making more adjustments. Terence was making more adjustments. It was like everything he threw at him, he adjusted it on the fly right there. He was reading it.
You got in the gym, you started working, you started sparring, and I was like, oh my God, he was lighting me up. You know, every mistake I made, bing, 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 he was countering it out of me. And I was like, my gosh. So after the sparring session, I'm like, damn, busting lip and all. I'm like, this dude just walked through me like nothing. I looked at him, I said, man, what's your name? And he was like, Terence Crawford. And I'm like, man, where the hell you from? He goes, Omaha, Nebraska. I go, bruh, you a world champion. And I was like, man, you got good. Every time I would try to step it up, he rose his game. And I'm like, God, I was like, dang, this dude is different. Like, most guys would just crumble. Like, oh, you the champ, so I'm just going to lay down. He didn't lay down at all. And better yet, he had no coach with him. Literally, they was giving him water, and that was it. He didn't have a coach telling him what to do. My coach, sure as hell, wasn't telling him what to do. And he just figured it out. And I'm just like, what the hell going on here? Like, he dominated me in the sparring session.
And I'm like, Shawn said it. He was like, you know, they can get in there, adjust at the drawing board, and come back. Now, I'm not sure if it was Adrian Broner or it was Shawn Porter once again. But one of them called this a trilogy. Let's see. Who was it?
It's a fight that boxing need. It's a fight that both of them need. And I really see a trilogy in this whole thing with them. Wow. I honestly can see a trilogy.
This can easily still be a trilogy. Listen, people are saying Errol had some difficulties at 147. I don't think he got no medical issues. I'm thinking he's not the same person from the accident, but I don't think he has lost any cognitive skills or his IQ has decreased or that he's going through dementia or some brain injuries or something like that. I don't see that. I looked at a couple videos and tried to compare. Yeah, his speech has always been kind of off. His reaction time, because I'm pretty sure is giving off some problems or some issues, but not nothing that I think is critical right now where he can't maneuver a box. If anything, it's going to, increase in something else to compensate for that twitch or something that may be, slightly off versus him being in a state where he's diminishing. I don't think that's it. The 147, the weight could have took a toll on him. Like he said, he couldn't turn it up a notch. I'm going to say this. The reason why I think the trilogy is going to be good, and one thing that y'all didn't notice in Errol Spence, and there's one thing that you got to give people an option to always, this is why the rematch clauses are good, because see, he has never been in a ring with a talent like that. To not be in a ring with a talent like Blood, when you talking about Mr. ERA, the Era, when you're speaking about Mr. ERA, the Era, Terence, Bud, Crawford, right now, he is history. Errol had never been in there with a guy like that. Everybody knew he was a talent like he was. Now he has, though. He's had to take the embarrassment, the beating. He had to stand with the pride and the morals after the beating and the embarrassment. The bruises, the swollen eye, he didn't come back from the car accident. People calling him a drunk, and he's still persevering and growing. Oh, man. Like Sean said, that mental fortitude that he owns is going to brew up something different. And if they can get this thing at 154, he can come in laser focused, strong, healthy, comfortable, then took that beating in an uncomfortable state and learned something. I'm about to switch gears for a second. I love Dragon Ball Z. I've watched Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Frieza, Majin Buu. You name them. These guys have done what? Got out there. Goku is one of the greatest fighters in the world of Dragon Ball. He is the fighter, the top fighter. They done killed him a few times. And through that death and all of the other guys who died, they learned their opponent. And in learning their opponent through the loss, they were able to be the victor when they matched up again. That can happen for Errol Spence. Errol Spence Jr. could have just calculated what it takes to beat Terence Bud. What it takes to beat Mr. ERA, the Era. He could have just figured it out. He could be calculating and he could be going in there and calibrating. And if so, we could have a trilogy match on our hands. And one of the greatest stories of boxing history about to go down, their rematch. Let's call it more history in the makers, because we already had history be made when they fought the first time. Listen, man, hats off to Errol Spence. Hats off to Mr. ERA, the Era, Terence Bud Crawford. That was a phenomenal night. Them guys put on an epic match, although one-sided. But because of who these guys are, they've set the tone for so much optimism right now. What could happen? The possibilities. Even with high stands, I'm excited to see them fight again. There's a couple people saying no fight is necessary. A rematch not necessary. Listen, I watched George Kambosos and Devin Haney. I didn't think there was a need for a rematch. And Errol Spence was already a champion that fought plenty of champions. Unlike Kambosos, he had only fought Teofimo Lopez and won that belt based off of that. And then he went straight to Devin, and then he got demolished by Devin. Kind of said he didn't belong there. But Errol, he had his belts. He had been going around taking titles from other guys. So there's a difference right there when you look at that rematch clause and how that played out. I didn't see Devin. George Kambosos hadn't did much for me beforehand. And I just didn't feel like, I don't know, I just didn't feel it. It could go that same way. It could. But if it don't, then I mean, any one of us trying to lose a pound out here is tough. Just imagine losing a certain amount of pounds to meet a certain, that's what they do to their bodies is extraordinary and extreme. If this thing goes down, study in Pompeii to the day. I'm going to leave y'all on that note, man. This is BreakingNews.com. I'm your host, Spells. And I just spelt it. And it ain't an accent. Signing off.